This week, News Channel 5 is partnering with the News Literacy Project, a nonpartisan nonprofit formed to help you spot misinformation.
Tonight, we take you behind the lens and into the Zoom meeting with our Investigates team to show you their painstaking fact-finding process. News Channel 5's Investigates Ben Hall shows us how Phil Williams discovered a multi-million-dollar spending spree by the state in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic.
The Investigates meeting starts at 9:15 each morning.
The no-bid contract.
It's where our chief investigative reporter, Phil Williams, first discussed his most complicated investigation of the pandemic.
Altogether, probably the initial story took 3 to 4 months just to pull together, what we thought was happening with the money.
This story didn't come from a tip. It came from a question that Phil asked about how the state was spending tax dollars during the pandemic.
From the beginning, I was curious about, where was this money going to be spent?
In April, Lee's team had ordered up 5 million face masks in a no-bid contract with the Renfro Corporation.
It led to a series of reports about an $80 million spending spree by the state, spent on things like sock masks and COVID supplies, awarded to companies without competition, some of whom were politically connected.
Anytime there is no bid spending, whether it's a Republican administration or a Democratic administration, we want to know, where's that money going?
Phil made multiple public records requests to the lead agency for the pandemic purchases, the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency. He got a spreadsheet that showed massive spending, but something didn't seem right.
And so I went back to the state and said, are these numbers really correct? I mean, I spent hours looking at the numbers.
It turned out the spreadsheet the state provided had errors. Someone had entered contracts twice, inflating what had really been spent.
We could have run with a story based on the numbers they had given me, but it would have been wrong.
Phil kept making records requests for emails, contracts, and expenditures, trying to get a true picture of how the state was spending taxpayer money.
I would look at the data, I would discern what I thought the story was, then I would run it past the state to say, here is what I'm preparing to report. Is this correct?
His first story aired in September.
State data shows that in the first 4 months of the pandemic, Tennessee spent $79.6 million on personal protective equipment, ventilators, and other medical devices, with no bidding or real proof that taxpayers got the best product for the best price.
After the story hit, we then had some pretty tough questions for the governor.
Phil followed with direct questions for Governor Bill Lee about why he decided to award certain companies no-bid contracts.
We asked these questions not to try to make the governor look bad. We asked the questions to try to get very specific answers to specific questions.
And yes or no, did you ever talk to Robert Swope about his interest in doing business with the state?
I have not.
Phil started making regular trips to the Capitol to question Governor Lee, which was more efficient than emailing questions to his PR people.
When you're emailing with PR professionals, that they will give you statements that don't answer the question. So at some point, you just have to be able to, question a human being, question the person in charge.
Phil obtained emails in which career health department employees warned higher-ups that a company hired to do COVID testing was not qualified to do the job, and that it was a bad deal for taxpayers. He posted those emails online so everyone could see them.
In this day and age, when there have been so many doubts raised about the media, we want to be transparent. We feel like we have a need to be as transparent as possible.
The whole Investigates team knows most people don't have time to ask for public documents or dig into state spending. We take the responsibility seriously.
Tell the story as completely as we can, as honestly as we can. That's our job.